This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 464 of the Stable Scoop Show. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible.
Our sponsors this week are horselovers.com, Shake and Fork, and Sparkle and Boom. Lizzy Traband exceeds fascinating. Lizzy has done more with one hand by the age of 19 than most of us will do in a lifetime, including being named 2016 Junior Equestrian of the Year by U.S. Equestrian. Plus, Cecilia reviews the women's all-around square-toe autumn boots. Listen in.
You're listening to the Stable Scoop Radio Show, where hosts Glenn and Helena guide you through some of the horse world's most fascinating stories. Owning and loving horses means there's always a story to tell. It may be funny, exciting, or inspiring, but it will almost always be fascinating. Join us for The Scoop each week as we tap into the stories that are woven into everything we do, at the barn, at home, and everywhere in between.
This is Glenn the Geek.
And this is Helena B., and you're listening to the Stable Scoop Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network.
Well, hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Stable Scoop Radio Show, the flagship show, the first show on the Horse Radio Network. Helena, I saw that you've got some updates on your ponies.
I do. Me and the bee are out getting things done. So for those of you who've been following along on Facebook, you know that my horse spiked a fever a few weeks ago after he had some vaccines, and he's just kind of not been right for the last 2 months. You know, though I can look back on our history together and say he's not been right for the last 5 years, which is as long as I've owned him. And I think I had an epiphany yesterday. I had an epiphany.
What was that?
Well, he's been kind of pokey.
Is this Brody we're talking about?
Yeah, this is Brody. Okay. He's been kind of pokey. He's a bit of a plug. He's got a hard mouth. I'm playing around with all kinds of bits. He has no brakes, blah, 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 blah. You know what I figured out?
What?
My horse is a punk.
He's just a jerk.
He's just a jerk. He is just a jerk. I wrote him, I got his teeth done. I thought maybe he wasn't happy with the bit because his teeth hurt. His teeth were fine. Now they're especially fine because they've been floated. They've been cleaned and flushed. His appetite is back. You know, Brody is healthy when he's hungry because he's always hungry.
Like me.
If he were a human boy, he'd shop in the Sears Husky section.
Like me.
Yeah. So when I go out to feed in the morning, in fact, anytime I come home, when my car pulls in the driveway, he's at the back fence looking out across the yard at me with a great big nicker. Is it time to eat, Mommy? Is it time to eat? You know, and then maybe you just go visit in the middle of the day or something. And he's like, are you bringing me food again? Meanwhile, he has 2 huge grassy fields to graze from. This horse could just never get enough food. So I know he's feeling better. I know he's back to his old self because his personality is he's just adorable. He's such a character and a great backyard horse because he's like a pet. You know, he likes to engage with humans. He does silly things with Dog. He's just an all-around goofball, a lovable one. So I'm like, okay, my Brody is back. And, you know, I get on him and I ride him in a halter. And he's still stubborn and bulgy and won't make a round circle. And he won't soften and he won't come through from behind. All these things you want him to do with a bit, he won't even do without a bit. So then I put another bit in his mouth. All right, let's go down to the French Link. You know, let's do the Waterford. Finally, I don't know what happened. I think I actually got mad at him. I think I got frustrated. And, I know what I did. I used a crop. I did. I used a crop. I was up at my stepdaughter's barn, and little girl was taking a lesson with another trainer up there, and she had a crop in her hand, and she was riding a naughty pony. You know what she did? She whacked that pony on the shoulder with her crop. Guess what? That pony was so well behaved for the rest of her lesson, she never had to use her stick again. I have a naughty pony. I gave him a good thwack on the shoulder with my crop, and all of the schooling that we have been working on for the past 6 months suddenly appears. My horse likes to go long and low. He likes to get round. He likes to get his little tushy up under him. Oh, how soft he is. How supple. How bendy. Oh, look at that. My horse can travel in a straight line. Why? Because Helena discovered the crop.
All of a sudden, he's paying attention again, huh? And you probably don't even have to use it. That's the amazing part.
I had to use it once or twice.
Yeah, but he knew you had it then, and that was it.
Well, I've been riding with spurs, and now he seems to be like, those spurs are little.
Yeah.
So, he has
got a little, the yappy attitude came out.
And I hate to say this because I hate to be harsh with my animals ever. I have no problem being harsh with my kid, especially when she was a toddler or when she's 13 or 14. So it's really, the epiphany I had is very much that, when I get in the saddle and I want to ride my horse, I want it to be a pleasant, non-stressful experience. Even schooling, even training, I guess what we're looking for, and we meaning the backyard horse owners and riders, it's a hobby. It's a joyful experience. We don't want the stress necessarily of having to train or school our horse with every single stride. Unfortunately, Brody's the kind of horse who needs to be schooled every single stride.
Yeah, there are some that are just like that. I mean, Scooter's kind of like that too. I mean, you kind of have to, because in his case, he just gets lazy. Really, really lazy and barely walks, in the cart. And you just have to kind of keep him moving all the time. And Jennifer keeps after me to keep him moving all the time. No.
See, we need somebody
Jennifer
to
just
keep
popped in and
us.
said, she just opened the door and said, yep.
Yeah, I'm sure she would say the same thing about me and Brody. In fact, she's the one that told me it was okay to ride with spurs to begin with. And that's what made the last 2 years of riding,
You're not
actually.
using rowels either. You're using two tiny nubs.
So, but he has this awful habit of bulging in at the shoulder. And we have done every exercise to correct that you could possibly think of. Like I said, I've tried every kind of bit you can think of. I've tried no bit. Finally, I just said, let's just thwack the shoulder and see what we get. And it's not the kind of repetitive aid that you need to keep using.
Right.
So what it comes down to is Brody's training this last week has been more about his personality and attitude and less about his body.
You know what Jennifer would say to both of us, right?
What?
This is a Glenn and Helena issue, not a Scooter and Brody issue. That's exactly what she would say to us.
I know. I'm rolling my eyes right now because she's right.
That's exactly what she tells me when in fact, the pony's not getting lazy. I'm getting lazy.
It just feels like you're being so aggressive.
But you're doing it once or twice and then it's coming back and then he's got it again. It's just a reminder more than anything.
Yeah, but you have to do it like with Brody. I have to be there's no such thing as a subtle aid with Brody. You have to be super strong, super clear, or he will just.
And that's probably the way it was before you even got him. That's probably how it was before you got him.
Well, he
because you only got him about 5 years ago.
5 years ago, he was way worse when I got him. He was 12.
12, yeah.
Yeah. So he's 17 going on 18 now. So he's older, and he was in a really great work program when he was up at Nora's for a couple months. And then he came home and he settled back into home life, which he's still in work, but I don't know maybe he thinks he's on vacation now. I don't know.
Well, he has been on vacation for a little while.
I know.
A little time off.
Most of his life is vacation.
I think now that you've had this epiphany in another couple of weeks, you're going to find that you need the aids less and he's going to listen more. Because he's figured out that you figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got his ticket again.
I was like, it's one of those things where you hit him with the stick and you're like, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. And it does. It's for him, it's a little thwack. For me, it's like I might be hitting him with a hatchet or something. God, it's like it's the one place I don't want to be, my hot little Italian self is when I'm in the saddle. I just want to have fun with my horse and, school
there are
a little.
Some horses I think you can get away with that with. I mean, I think Beaker, but I think they're more the exception than the rule.
Totally.
Yeah. I definitely, Beaker was
Don't,
one of those.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love my horse, but he is a challenge to school. He is.
Yep.
But he's great on the trails. He's great in groups. There's so many things about him that are great. It's just when you're trying to achieve a particular riding
goal. It's taken you 5 years to figure this out. With some of your boyfriends, it took longer than that. So you're improving. You're getting better.
So that is, and then, the teaser that I had on our auditor's page was that, my new bit is the one rein stop. That's pretty much how Brody goes. When he decides he wants to go for a gallop, doesn't matter what you have in his mouth or around his face, he's going to go. And
that's how they teach him. And that's probably how he was taught when he was first broke, is the one rein stop.
And that's what I'm saying, is that there's no amount of training that I can do that's going to teach this horse that will help me rate this horse.
At the age of 18.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just have to be prepared to do a one rein stop, and hopefully 2 or 3 times he'll figure it out.
And hope there's no gully that goes down about 30 feet on the way you're turning.
I know.
I'm just busting your chops. You know that.
So that's my Brody update.
That's the Brody update. Well, that's good. Yep. I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
Now you can move on. Both of you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, now we need a report next week.
Okay.
On how that's going.
Let's just hope it doesn't rain.
Yeah, we've had a lot of that here in Florida. All right, let's get to our first guest right after this word from Shake and Fork and Flex and Fork, who are the manure forks that we have used for 6 years now here at the farm, and we don't have any others anymore. All the others that we had before we got these have broken, and we've thrown them away, and now we only have these. So let's hear a little bit more about why people like them, and then we're going to come back with our fascinating guest, and that's Lizzy Traband. I think this is probably one of the most fascinating we've had yet this year. So stay tuned.
I'm the host of HorseGirlTV.com, Angela Walkup, and I've been using the Equity Shake and Fork for over 4 years now. It's not only cut my stall cleaning time in half, but likewise my manure pile with less wasted bedding. Less waste saves me money. So I highly recommend both the Shake and Fork and their Flex and Fork, as you can't find better manufacturing on the market today. And remember, you can always tune in, tack up with HorseGirlTV.com.
Well, hi, Lizzy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Good. This year we are highlighting fascinating people in the horse world, and you certainly are one of the most fascinating that we've had on yet.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you.
Let me just tell everybody a little bit about Lizzy. She's 19 years old. She was named a 2016 Junior Equestrian of the Year by U.S. Equestrian. She competes dressage, hunter, and jumper, although she really likes jumpers. She has spent years traveling as a bridleless performer, has trained her own homebred mounts, and teaches clinics all over the United States and Canada. Oh, and in her free time has started a couple companies and businesses and things. She's a little entrepreneur. And, I think when you take a look at the Sidelines article, you see that you have one hand and were born with one hand. And I loved the Sidelines article that I read about you that said your mom just, from the time you were born, said, I'm not treating you any different than anybody else. You can figure it out.
You got it. That's exactly what she said.
Well, apparently
it
worked.
Looks like you figured a lot of stuff out, because my God, girl, at 19 years old, what don't you have yourself immersed in? Let's go back though. So Mama's involved in horses. You come along. She obviously gets stars in her eyes and sees the next little pony jumper rider coming along. Was your indoctrination to horses an easy one? Did it come naturally to you, or was it something that you had to struggle with a little bit when you were younger?
I definitely struggled a lot at the beginning. I wasn't super into it. I would ride for a week or two, and then I wouldn't ride for a couple of weeks, and that was totally okay with my parents. I'm not sure my mom wanted me to get into the horses, just because it's so dysfunctional. I think she would have been completely content if I would have played soccer for the rest of my life. And it wasn't until I was about in second grade. Yeah, it wasn't until I was about in second grade where I got serious about it. When I was younger, as a kid, riding was definitely a little bit of a challenge. It was kind of hard. And my mom tried everything to keep it fun. She never, ever forced me to ride. I always had a pony and he was always there, but it wasn't like I had to do this and I had to go to the horse shows. And I think that was in the long run what probably made me so serious about it when I turned, I think I was 9 or 10 when I started to get really into it.
Tell us the name of your first pony.
Well, my very first pony was named Scooter, and he bucked me off all the time. All the time. I could walk Scooter, but as soon as I tried to trot, he'd gut me.
Well, that's a typical first pony.
He provided much entertainment, and luckily he was the same with pretty much everyone else. It's pretty funny watching the big kids get on and he'd try and then they'd fall off.
I got to tell you, I have a Hackney pony named Scooter right now. He's my driving pony.
Oh my God.
And so,
that's so fun.
Scooter has an attitude. But why do we always end up with the wild, crazy pony as your first horse? It always works that way.
My second pony, Toby, he dumped me, I think, more than Scooter did. And until I figured out that, he just didn't like the job he was doing. But, we had some good ponies come along after that.
You bounced good, I bet, by that point.
Yeah, I think I bounced really good. I don't remember falling off being painful like I do now.
Yeah, that goes for the rest of us too. How did you neck rein back then? How did you have you didn't have a prosthetic at that point, so did you neck rein?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I started with my mom literally tied a loop in the rein. And I'd put my little arm through the loop, and I rode like that for a good couple of years. I don't even remember it, to be completely honest. And then when I was a kid, I went to Walmart, and I went into the brace section, and I bought like a tennis brace. And we learned we clipped the tennis brace into the lace of the rein. And I rode like that all the way until I was probably 15 years old. Wow. But I didn't have the prosthetic until about 2 years ago, I think. 2 or 3 years ago.
And you
yeah.
So you kind of come up with this alternative way of riding. And I mean, we know that, horses, you can, whatever aids you teach them to respond to, and those are the aids that they respond to, right? So were you competitive? So you now you're starting to get a little bit more serious. You're about a tween at this point. Were you feeling competitively in your heart? Like, okay, I really want to see where I can push myself with these horses.
Right.
Or had that bug bit you yet?
Yes. So that's when the bug bit me at the 2010 World Games. And I was there performing. And with the credentials we had, we were able to access a lot of the events. And I can remember sitting in the stands watching the show jumping, thinking I need to do this one day. And I think I told my mom, and I know she thought I was crazy. But that was definitely a huge turning point in my career. That was when I met Louis Serio and got in touch with the USHJA, who actually gave me the grant, the Living the Dream grant, to go to Wellington that season in Florida. And that was a huge, huge turning point. Ever since then, I've definitely had a way more competitive edge and have worked extremely hard to be competitive at whatever I'm doing. And that was 2010 definitely marked that change.
Okay. She passed right over the fact that you were how old then? 15, 14?
Oh gosh, you have to do the math.
14?
Let's see, 2010, I'm 19 now, so 13. Do the math.
You're about
I think
13.
I was 12 or 13.
Yeah, so 12 or 13, and you were doing demonstrations at the World Equestrian Games. You passed right over
Correct.
that. Just skip that one. So what were you doing?
I was doing bridleless bareback performances in Equine Village throughout the entire event. And we had our own little opening and closing ceremonies that were separate. And we taught clinics. We would teach various things like liberty and bow lay down and tricks. And I had my own sessions, as well as I helped Tommy Turvey with a lot of his teaching clinics. So it was a really, really fun 2 weeks to be in Kentucky, that's for sure.
How much did that trick training and the performing help you in your riding later?
It was extremely influential in a very good way. One of the best things about the trick training and the riding, and even being born without the left hand, is I was forced to be an extremely balanced rider from day one, which, while it was harder from the beginning, now that I'm riding at a much higher level where balance is basically the key to being competitive in every ring, it's paid off tremendously. It's pretty cool. Last weekend, I jumped my first National Grand Prix on a horse that I've only had for a couple weeks, and she jumped clean, and it was definitely a big reward, because when you get to that level, your balance is your main form of communication, and your balance has to be so fine-tuned, and that's something that I was forced to learn early on through all the different things I did.
Did you do a lot of no stirrups work? Because my daughter just cringes when she has to do no stirrups work, but it's so effective for her balance. I mean, you can't deny the marriage of balance and strength, right? I mean,
yes, exactly.
Right. So did you have to do a lot of no stirrups work?
I remember doing some, but I actually didn't do tons. I rode a lot of horses bareback with the performing, which I definitely think helped. And, without having the left hand, I couldn't resort to my hands for balance.
Yeah.
So, if a horse tried to pull, I couldn't pull back. And it takes two to pull. And I think it's a really hard concept for a lot of riders, but it was something that I didn't really have a choice whether or not I was going to grasp it or not. So, in a strange way, I think that has paid off now in the long run.
What aids are you currently using to do your show jumping? You said you got a prosthetic 2 years ago. Is it a full hand prosthetic? Mm-hmm. What do you have?
So it's entirely mechanical. It's a claw that is connected to like a specific casting, which matches my right hand. And the claw opens from a strap. It might be hard to explain. It actually runs behind my back and loops around my right shoulder. So when I extend the right shoulder forward, the wire pulls the claw back and it opens. And when I extend the right shoulder back, the claw closes.
Oh, how many times have you accidentally dropped the reins practicing with that the first couple times?
Oh my gosh, it's insane. I had to do a special design on the reins so that doesn't happen. But I actually, oh my gosh, the first time I had it for about 3 days, and I was in clinic, and I jumped like a pole on the ground, and I reached my left hand forward, and I got stuck on the martingale strap, and I was on a spinner, and the horse reared up, and it was really bad. So we definitely had our oopsies with the arm, but knock on wood, it seems to be working out pretty well now.
I guess so. Jumping Grand Prix and going clean, that's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all.
A competitive athlete like you, we all, regardless of how we're built, we all have our good days and our bad days. But I think some of us are more prone to pity parties than other. Hello, me. Mm-hmm. Do you ever have to fight with that? And for any reason?
I don't think so. I'm not sure I completely understand the question.
Meaning,
my mom was a no excuses kind of girl.
Right. Do you ever feel like some days you just want an excuse?
No, I can remember making up an excuse when I was like 13 years old, and I pulled weed for a week, and I haven't made an excuse then.
That's the answer I'm looking for. That's the answer I'm looking for.
I think I have my mom to thank for that. You have to really try to use that, excuse mentality to spin it around into positive energy. Like sometimes it's good to get a little frustrated, because then if you use that frustration in the right way, it's going to make you better. I can definitely tell you there's times where I've been frustrated, but it's not been for the wrong reason, if that makes any sense.
It does.
I'll get frustrated at myself because I'm like, darn it, I should be able to do this. This isn't a big deal. Like, I need to figure out how to fix this. But I don't think I've ever gotten frustrated because man, if I had a left hand, this would be easy. It's just not a mindset I ever let myself get in, I guess.
That's a good word, mindset.
Do you think
it's all about mindset?
Part of that is because you had it from the beginning and it wasn't an accident that had it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. My mom and my dad, and they're amazing parents. Like, they were never hard on me, but there were never any excuses. It was, just figure it out. There's another way to do it. So that definitely, I think it was a huge gift they gave me in treating me like that.
I wonder how many of Lizzy's pictures are on refrigerators all across the country, and the parents go, "Hey, look!
Oh, gosh.
Hey, look!"
Oh, boy.
And their kids are throwing darts at you right now because you're just ruining their
my
lives.
gosh. I hope not. That's too funny.
It sounds like you have, because you've been dealing with this. Well, first of all, when you ride horses, you're automatically a problem solver. But then you have to kind of get around the traditional ways of riding horses. That makes you a double dipping problem solver, which brings me to this software project that you have going on. I in the Sidelines article, it mentioned that you were working on, it's an app or it's a program to help facilitate the billing and the administrative stuff that happens in the horse world. And your mom is kind of involved in that as well. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's a big problem that needs to be solved.
It's a massive, massive project. Very intimidating. But we're working at it one day at a time, and we're going to see how far we can get. So basically, there's two different platforms. There's two different projects that are kind of tied into one. There's a management platform, and then there's a marketing platform. Now, the goal with the marketing platform is to get every horse into the best possible situation. Right now, there's lots of different programs where you can look to buy a horse or lease a horse, but there's not really any programs connecting, young professionals with breeders or young junior riders who are looking for, sale catch rides, or horses that are retired that need to, drop down in their job. So the goal of the marketing platform is to essentially get every horse into the best possible situation, which is something that is really lacking in our industry, especially if you're not super well connected. Now,
so it's like a Match.com for horses.
Yeah, basically. And the idea is to tie in the breeders and to tie in the therapeutic riding centers and to tie in the college programs, because there's a serious disconnect between many of the different people who have horses and people who need horses. Right. And as a result, there's oftentimes horses that end up in situations that they don't belong in. So it's truly, the goal is to, get the horses into a situation where they're, happy and healthy. So that's the marketing platform. And the management platform is basically supposed to make your job for running your business easier. And the goal with that is to give professionals or amateurs, whoever's running the barn, more time to be in the barn. I was a working student for Elizabeth Salter for a couple of years. It was an incredible experience. And part of my job was running the books. And we sat down every Florida. We would sit down all day Monday to do all the billing for all the customers and entries. And it took us all day on Monday. And it was, in my mind, kind of silly. It seemed like a waste of time. So
which also sucks because it's your only day off if you're a jumper.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So the idea is to make the billing and the management and keeping track of all the records easier. So it's a massive project. It's really, really intimidating. Sometimes I look at my mom and I'm like, "Are you sure about this?" Like,
see, most,
I can't believe you're helping me with this project.
You're talking to two geeks here, Lizzy, and most underachievers would choose to just do one of those at a time as two separate apps. But apparently we're underachievers, Helena, because I would have just done one.
Oh my gosh.
So wouldn't be the first time I heard that.
They'll tie into each other. The two platforms are actually heavily connected in ways that you would never imagine they could be connected. So that's another big part of it, where we sat down and there's two missing links. And they really are one piece, while we can break them down into two. So, we're heading into beta testing right now. It's an insane project, and we want to really make sure we have our T's crossed and I's dotted before we launch. But hopefully down the road it'll be a success, and it'll, achieve the goals that we have set.
Well, you definitely let us know when that comes out, and we'll get you back on, okay?
Oh my gosh, okay. I will.
Well, and now, are you going to go to college, or you feel like you've already had 20 years of college at this point?
Oh gosh. I just finished my freshman year at Penn State, so I am in college.
Oh, so you went to a little tiny school in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah, that little tiny school with over 40,000 kids. Yeah, so I'm very lucky because Penn State's really close to home. So I can continue to ride and train with my mom and at our home facility. And I'm also very lucky because my dad works at Penn State, so I get a pretty good discount on tuition. So I will be able to graduate from school without any college debt, which is very important to me. And I'll still end up with a good degree, which I'm hoping is going to help me with this IT project and the business I'll do down the road.
Excellent.
Well,
that's an awesome plan, girl.
Yep.
And you've got 2 more new fans.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
I think after this, you're going to have thousands of more new fans. But, you absolutely fascinating story, and congratulations on everything you've accomplished and you're going to accomplish. We're going to be watching you for years to come. We appreciate you stopping by. Do you have a website of your own, or where can people follow what you're up to?
I'm all over social media, so you can Instagram, Facebook. I do have a website. It's a little bit out of date. I need to get on that. LizzyTraband.com, and then our horsemanship program is actually Tajdi Horsemanship, and that's online as well.
Very good. Thank you, Lizzy.
Thanks, Lizzy. It was great talking to you.
Okay, thank you.
Sparkle and Boom is a marketing company catering to small and medium-sized businesses. Their goal is to add some sparkle to your marketing in order to get some boom in your bottom line. They do it by engaging your target market with an elegant style and genuine message, a message that shines a light on what's appealing, unique, better, and awesome about your business. Sparkle and Boom can help you to reach new customers with a message that is both meaningful and effective at driving new business. Click over to sparkleandboom.com for more information. That's sparkleandboom.com.
Up next, my favorite stable scoop segment. It's the Tack and Habit 5-minuter. I was going to say the Tack and Habit hour. It should be a Tack and Habit hour. It's a 5-minuter. It's sponsored by Horse Lovers. And our reviewer today is longtime listener and one of my favorite people who I've never met in person, but someday we will because we're kindred spirits, Cecilia Berger, and her beautiful, smart, talented daughter, Dee Dee. They are going to review for us the women's all-around square toe autumn boots. Hi, Cecilia. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
So I'm kind of a footwear fan, and apparently you guys are too. And these are some pretty snazzy boots, I have to say.
Yeah, they're very fancy.
Who got them first? Who wore them? Who loves them? And what color?
She got them. They're her boots because we don't wear the same shoe size, and they're are they blue? Like kind of a peacock blue. They're really pretty.
And these are cowboy-looking boots, right?
Yes,
yeah.
They're definitely cowgirl boots.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so they're made by Noble Outfitters. The blue is so pretty, and they have that square toe, which I love. And it's like I think they call it it's not a stacked heel. There's a name for the type of heel that it is. Do you know what it is, Cecilia?
No, I don't. So long as it functions, I'm good. But I don't know anything else about shoes.
Okay. Well, it's a flat heel, meaning it's not the kind of heel that would get us killed if we decided to get on a horse.
Exactly.
So they look pretty comfortable. They're not very tall. They're 11 inches high, which I would imagine is perfect for a 10-year-old. Mm-hmm. So maybe we should just ask the owner of these new boots what she thinks.
Yeah. I'm going to answer the phone. Here you go.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Dee Dee. This is Helena.
Helena.
I understand that you have these beautiful new boots, and I think you and I have a lot in common because I just love super pretty shoes and anything that's like amazingly fancy. And I think these are kind of amazingly fancy. How much do you love them?
A lot.
Are they comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got the boots, you opened the box. What was your reaction?
I was just really excited to see them because I've always wanted to wear cowgirl boots.
Now, Dee Dee, be honest, from what I understand, you didn't take them off to go to bed the first night. Dee Dee?
Yes.
That's right.
You sleep. I would sleep with these on too, kiddo.
That's what I heard. Little birdie told me.
Now, you do some riding. Is that true?
Yeah, I ride.
You ride. Do you ride with your mama?
I normally ride with my friend at the barn.
Okay. And can you ride in these boots? So do you ride Western or do you ride English?
I ride English.
So you can't really ride in these boots, but I'm going to ask you, have you ridden in these boots?
Not yet, but actually, one day I have ridden them in bareback.
Yes, that's what a cowgirl does. I love it. So what's your favorite outfit to wear with these boots?
My blue dress.
Blue dress with blue boots.
That's
She is,
perfect.
Glenn, a girl after my own
Yeah,
heart.
she's either even color coordinated.
Yes,
I have seen pictures of her in these boots, and they are very, very cute. And so would you say they're comfortable enough that you could wear them all day?
Yeah,
You have worn them all day, haven't you?
technically, yeah, every day at the barn.
Do you get a lot of compliments on them?
Yeah.
That's good. And have you worn them to school yet?
I don't go to school. I'm homeschooled.
Ah, well, then you have worn them to school. Because you wear them at
That's-
home.
But it is summer, so I do go to my friend's house and they like the boots too.
Oh, cool. Very good. Well, thank you, Dee Dee. Why don't we put Mom back on here and we'll finish up. And then
Well, it was nice talking to you guys.
good to talk
Bye.
to
You
you.
too. Thank you, Dee Dee.
Thank you, Dee Dee.
Hi there.
Hi.
Oh my God, she's so cute. She's
You
so
did a
cute.
pretty good job of getting her to talk.
Yeah. You know what's so funny is when I met her at Rolex, she wouldn't stop talking. But when you get them on the phone, it's sometimes different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The no eye contact. I don't know.
Yeah, I put Grace behind this microphone and she suddenly becomes like someone without an opinion.
Yeah.
Oh,
So what does
funny.
Mom have to say about these boots?
I thought that they were kind of like fancy, and I didn't know how they work in the work environment, but they've held up really nice, and they actually clean up easily. We've gotten a lot of rain here. It's the low country, so it's raining almost every day, and they're even waterproof, so it doesn't get much better than that.
Well, there you
Wow.
go. That's
They really
pretty
look,
good.
and the tread looks pretty nice too. And like you're not going, it doesn't have that full leather sole on the bottom, so they're not too slippery.
Yeah, no, they're not slippery at all. They have, I don't know, it's not grippy looking, but she doesn't slide in them, so that works really well.
Yeah, because you know what? Kids sometimes they dance through life. They don't just walk, right? They shuffle, they
Yes,
spin,
especially
they
girls.
jump. Yeah. So you're like, all right. And sometimes these Western boots can be kind of slick on the bottom. So I was just looking at the
Mhm.
treads and thinking that would be a
For sure.
safe footbed for me.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some texture to them, and they came out of the box feeling broken in, so it's not like they were stiff or anything. She wore them seriously 3 days in a row, and she didn't have any blisters.
Well, that
Okay.
says a lot right there. That really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is cool. You can find them if you go to horselovers.com and just search for, let me see here. You can search for ladies all around square toe boots, and then they also have the kids version. So you can just put in Noble Outfitters all around boots and you'll find them. They're $189.95 as we record this. So they're a good price for a cowgirl boot as well. And they do have a bunch of different sizes with regular and wide and all kinds of things. So kids on up through adults.
They
Well-
are just so cute. I need to get a pair
And Cecilia,
like now.
send me your favorite picture of her in her boots, riding a horse or doing whatever, and we'll post that in the show notes as well so people can see her in them.
Okay, you got it.
All right. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
All right. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Well, that about wraps up our coverage for today. What's going on over on your other shows?
Well, that Newport show and Around the Buoy are both going strong. Buck and I are covering a lot of things in Newport because, the summer season's here. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We are trying to get to Newport for the 4th of July. So I have not yet been in town for the 4th of July. And of course, my birthday is on July 6th. So it's kind of like my birthday weekend celebration,
Oh, cool.
I try to wrap it all up in one because everybody's in a good mood for the 4th of July,
Well, I
So I
got to
kinda
hear how we did not hear last time we talked. You were heading out the next day for the Fancy Yacht $1 Million Boat Show.
Oh my God. Let's just talk about where we're going to have the next Horse Lovers cruise.
It's on one of those yachts.
Well, you'll have to listen to that Newport show coming up on Thursday because we talk all about what $398,000 a week will buy you.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, buys you a lot. Really nice carpeting
Yeah,
out
I
in the
bet.
middle of the ocean.
Maybe a little food too.
They have the charter yacht show is really cool because, like you guys are, chartering. When you're chartering, you've basically booked a block of rooms on a cruise ship. A charter yacht is essentially your own mini hotel, and the crew is your staff, right? You've got the captain, you've got your stewards, your first mate. Their job is basically to serve you on your vacation. It's a private floating vacation. And honestly, if you have the budget, obviously $398,000 is a bleep ton of money.
Yeah, I don't have the budget.
But if you have the budget, most of these luxury charter yachts will go for like, I don't know, anywhere from $70,000 a week to $180,000 a week. Wow. And, that's 14 people. So a lot of corporations will buy them, basketball players, rock and roll, musicians and stuff like that. Anyway, if you happen to be listening and that's even remotely close to your budget, it is such a worthwhile vacation.
I bet.
Yeah. Not just it really is. It really and truly is. Yeah. Like I can't even.
So you got to go in all these boats?
We got to go in it. They have these sort of contests. The chef will prepare, each of the chefs on the yachts will prepare a dish, and they have a contest which chef is the best. They have a cocktails contest, which crew has the best cocktails. So I'm covering this show and we're drinking cocktails all day. We're going from yacht to yacht, trying a little espresso martini here, a vodka gimlet over there.
Did you both dress up dapper? Did you look very New England?
It was a work event, so I looked very, me, I like to dress up.
Yeah, you like to dress up. Yeah.
And then in the evening, there's something called the yacht hop. So each of the yachts actually has an official cocktail party, and you hop from yacht to yacht. And one of them had a band that was playing on it, and the crews dress up as like characters. This one particular yacht called the Renaissance, not the Renaissance, called Renaissance. So anyway, they were dressed up as Gilligan's Island. They decorated the yacht as Gilligan's Island.
I don't know if that's the thought I want to have in my mind when I'm taking their boat out.
and Marianne, and you could hear, the music is playing. It was a really good time. And the whole idea of the show is to match up these yachts with brokers. And the broker's job, they're like the travel agents. They connect the well-heeled
kind of like
clients.
Real estate brokers connecting.
Yeah. They match up
travel brokers.
A particular yacht with a particular type of client, because some of them are geared for families. They have a lot of toys on them, like jet skis and floaty things, and others are for the older, more sophisticated type of traveler. So there's a very legitimate business purpose behind these shows, but it's all about luxury vacations.
That's very cool.
Yes, sir.
Very cool. I imagine you went in some of them and just were like, oh my God.
Well, this is the second year we've covered the show, so the shock factor is a little less than it was last year. But what never, ever ceases to amaze me, honest to God, is you have to take your shoes off for every yacht you go on. That's kind of standard operating procedure.
Yeah, when you go to RV shows, they have you do that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You step on board the yacht, you usually go to the aft deck. So it's like an outdoor deck right in the back of the boat. And then there's sliding doors, and you go into what they call the salon or the living room of the boat. And every single yacht I've ever been on has the most luxurious carpeting. I said to Buck, $398,000 for a week. I'd spend $398,000 just to stand on this rug in my bare feet for 20 minutes. It's, this kind of luxury material we'll never see in our lifetime.
No. Well, that's very cool.
Fun stuff.
That's very cool that you got to do that. That's so neat.
Yeah.
So when did you rent it for? I haven't gotten the invite yet.
My yacht has a little diesel motor.
4 horsepower.
Yeah. 1 horsepower. It's called Brody at the beach.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm glad you got to do that. Now, where are we going to be able to find that? Does Around the Buoy have its own feed now, or are they all under that Newport show?
Nope. Around the Buoy has its own feed. You can find it on iTunes, or you can go to aroundthebuoy.com.
How do you spell buoy again?
What is it?
How do you spell buoy again?
Oh, Jeez. Buoy.
I could never spell that.
Around the buoy. That's okay because Google will autocorrect for you.
See, and it is there. It's also on Android. It's right, and I love your logo still, by the way. It's also on
you.
Android. I just searched for it to make sure it was popping up, and it is episode 4, the Wooden Boat Show, and that was the last one, I assume.
Yeah, that we're going to. Yes, we talked to the publisher of the Wooden Boat magazine. We're going to the show this weekend. But
you
the
get to do
charter
so many
yacht
cool things with this gig.
with boats. I know nothing about boats.
That's
I was
cool.
like, well,
And you're doing
I
it
got
in Newport, kind of nice, except for
I
the
know.
traffic this time of year.
I know. But that Newport show has this coming. Well, let's see. The Stable Scoop and that Newport show will probably both come out on the same day, right? We come out on Thursdays.
Yep. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that Newport show coming out this Thursday will have the full scoop on the charter yacht show and some fun stuff that's going on in Little Compton. It's a good episode.
Good. Cool. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it. You can find all the information about Horse Radio Network. Just go to the App Store on your phone and search for Horse Radio Network. Download it. It's the simplest, easiest way to listen to all of our shows. There's a new show popping up on there. It's called Heels Down Happy Hour. We'll talk more about that next week. But the first episode is there if you want to go take a listen. It was a lot of fun, and I think you're going to enjoy it. It's by Heels Down Magazine. That's our 14th show now on the Horse Radio Network, but they're all a little different. That one's kind of like, it's kind of twice a month, and it's kind of like the opposite of Horses in the Morning. This is Happy Hour at the end of the day. So, and they were drinking, I think. So they were keeping it real. And we're recording another one tonight, and I think there'll probably be more drinking. So that one is available right now, and we'll have them on next week. They're going to come on the show and talk a little bit about what they do and what's going on over there. And you can find Helena at sparkleandboom.com and that Newport show. And the name of the network, again, is Sparkle and Boom Network.
Sparkle and Boom Podcast Network.
There you go. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Oh, wait, our closer.
Yeah, you
got
our
me
closer.
all confused.
Sorry.
Sparkle and Boom, Newport show, Stable Scoop. Oh, gosh, podcaster's life. How do we close the show? How many years have we been doing this? Who are you again?
Okay, I'll say, are we done? Are we done, Glenn? Oh, no, that's your line. You say, are we
it
done,
is?
Glenn?
You know what? I have 3 male co-hosts. I'm starting to get you all confused.
Now you know how I feel. I'm 32.
That is it for Stable Scoop this week. Thank you, listeners, for following along. We will be back next week. Until then, happy scooping.